Selling in the billions each year, Rainbow Mealworms is your one-stop shop for all your insect needs. Their quality feeders and A-plus customer service keep me coming back to support the health and growth of all of our animals. Visit them today at rainbowmealworms.net to place your order. I want to take this time to shout out Redline Shipping. They are the #1 fastest growing reptile and animal shipping company in the world right now, and that is for good reason. Use promo code GECKO5 today at checkout for an additional $5 off your shipping label. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Geeky Gecko Creations Monday night live stream. I'm going to be probably doing something a little different where I ask for your guys' help with recommending some topics that we can talk about. Yvette is in the house, so I'm going to give a shout out to her. It's a cool way for you guys to get a shout out, interact with us. Yvette, let me know if, the first couple people in here, if there's any sound issues or anything like that. Michael, I got a little fan going in the background, but this microphone should keep that sound out. One of the topics that I constantly get is about leopard gecko business, how people could grow a business. I also get other topics such as, what was I thinking about today? Social media, like how to grow a social media following. And we get care questions and stuff like that too. So if you have a certain topic that you just want me to go in detail about during a podcast or live stream, please leave it in the comments below or send me a message. Texas, Clint, Aloe Natural, good to see you guys. I apologize for not being also as steady with my last few Mondays. It's just been kind of hectic. And, when you have a business or you guys are in a hobby, try not to get discouraged when you're not able to do things you don't want to do. I really enjoy these lives. I really want to do them, but I have to prioritize like care of the animals and other things. If you change your perspective to, okay, I'm going to take care of the animals. I have my entire life to podcast. I have my entire life to grow the business. I have my entire life to sell geckos or whatever it might be that's kind of weighing you down. It puts it in perspective a little bit more that it doesn't all have to happen today. There's something funny about the way men handle problems and the way women handle problems in general, like the way that our minds are geared. Men want to do everything now, focus on one task, give it their all and their fullest and get it done. And so every single day I try to get everything done that I want to, but it's too tough because I want to give my all to everything. And that takes a ton of time and a ton of energy, So if you're not able to do what you want to do, just know that you'll be able to complete it in the future, and it's healthy to set future goals and all of that. So I got some work that I need to do tonight, but before I get to that work, I was like, let me sit down and let's campfire talk for a little bit about a certain topic, and you guys can kind of chime in on this topic or ask questions as well. And also, please recommend future topics also. Krista says, hello, so happy I found you the past few days. I'm starting to breed leopard geckos, focusing on the tangerine line. See, that's a great comment right there. There's so many people that are starting to breed leopard geckos, which kind of leads into my first topic as far as, hold on, Terra scales. Frank, I need a video idea. You have any tips? Do videos. See, this is like a social media growth tip. So when I do my social media episode, we'll talk about this in detail, but there's a couple ways to grow on social media. You could either be a sensationalist, meaning you're going for something that is a sensational grab. These types of people are people that post like feeding videos. They also post character videos, right? Meet my leopard gecko, Cindy. And every day Cindy does something different, right? So, and then there's educators, and then there's people that kind of do a mix of everything, but it really helps in the beginning to pick one of those categories and kind of grow from there. At least for what I wanted to do, it did. Some people are like room tour type people, like meet all my pets, and that does really well for them. But we'll kind of stick more to business for this topic. So bring those questions back when we do our social media topic. I'll try to get on here every Monday or every week and do a different topic that I have at hand. You know what I mean? So Cindy was talking about, Krista was talking about working with the tangerine line. What was I going to relate that to? Tangerine line, SEO, website, cost, maintenance. Okay, I'll just kind of go in order from what I have on my little note sheet to keep me in line here. And if you guys have questions relating to business, I'll also talk about that as well. So if you're going to have a business, it's a really good idea to have a website. So I can kind of show you, let me just give you like just a little insight into why it's beneficial to have a website. And this is actually not a great day to show you guys, but as you can see right here, and I apologize if I'm echoing, let me know. Sometimes it does that when I share the screen. But as you can see, so far today, I've had 76 people visit my website. Also, when you have a MorphMarket, so if you go to MorphMarket, my store, you can gain some insight into how many people are visiting your store. You can see your reputation. See, like I have 5 stars here. You could also drop links to your website and social media here. You can see how many people follow you, which is really cool. So we have 239 followers on MorphMarket. And it also gives you, there's a place to see statistics. Let me see, is it in ratings here? Store policy. No, it's not ratings. General. Hold on, I was just looking at it the other day. Seller ratings. So you could go to seller ratings and you could see your ratings. Oh no, that's not what I was looking for. But although that's a good spot, that's not what I was looking for. My computer's frozen for a second. I think I have a virus from editing a video. I used one of those websites where it's like you could convert a YouTube video to a downloadable version, and it made it so that I think it put a virus on my computer or something like that. So I'm gonna need to have this computer fixed over the next few weeks here. My store, animal. Oh, I think it's on dashboard. So you can go to your dashboard. So check this out. At your dashboard, you can see like how much value of animals you have up for sale. You can also see how many people are viewing your store. So this is pretty cool. So I think this is lifetime. I have 114,000 views, 2,000 clicks, 10 inquiries. No, this can't be lifetime because I have way more than 10 inquiries. So this might be like the last, I don't know. I don't know, honestly. But MorphMarket gets like 1 million views a day or something like that. So, oh yeah, so here we go. This is I think this is lifetime. So think about this. I've been on MorphMarket for 4 years now, I think, 3 or 4 years, and I've had 1 million people view my store. So MorphMarket is definitely a good business tip. But when people are shopping on MorphMarket, they're looking at more than just your store. You know, they're looking at other people's stores. So it's a really good idea to have your own store. See, we just gained 2 visitors in the last couple of minutes. And if you build your website in a way to where you have something that's called SEO, which will be the next topic we talk about, by putting multiple ads on a website and using words that are very relatable to leopard geckos, such as, look at every single one of my ads. Mandarin, tangerine, bold, carrot tail, leopard gecko. Leopard geckos for sale. If you're using this lingo that is very, productive in Google's mind towards marketing animals for sale, Google's going to market you a lot. I normally get, on average, around 200 visitors to 250 visitors a day to my website. So that's personal visitors to your website. And that's partly because of Google, but it's also partly because of social media. I only have 78 right now because I don't have so many animals for sale on my website. I only have 42 animals for sale on my website. If I had like 100 or 200 animals for sale on my website, that would drive more people from Google. Google would recommend my website more. because I'm optimized for what people are searching for, which is leopard geckos for sale. You know, you could also see big spikes in people visiting your website if you have like sales and stuff like that. So SEO, search engine optimization, is definitely a topic that you want to become familiar with. And all of these topics you could kind of research on YouTube as well. And people that are in other business areas, they could teach you about this. So the other point that I was talking about was social media. So if you take a look at, and this is where I'll touch on this real quick. I'll touch on how to grow social media and all of that. So see, we're live right now. Let's just take a quick look. Let's just take a quick look at social media of some of my videos that have been successful in the last few weeks and some of them that have not been. See, this is that virus thing here. Don't worry, it does this. It'll jump back here in a second. So let's go to manage videos. And yeah, I guess we could see some views here. We're gonna leave shorts out of it because shorts get a lot of views because YouTube is promoting shorts right now. And so that's one of the ways that we were able to grow so fast is we were on top of our shorts game. If you're on top of your shorts game, that's one way to grow. There's multiple facets to growing a YouTube channel, but one of the number one ways to grow a YouTube channel right now is by getting good at shorts and being consistent with shorts. So while this is paused, let me take a quick sec to say hi to some of our new members here. I'm guessing I'm not echoing, which is good because nobody's mentioned that yet. Is it true female leopard geckos can hold sperm? Yes, they can hold sperm for up to 2 years. I don't know if they've studied longer than 2 years, but definitely 2 years for sure has been studied. And we even have a video online. I bred a snow leopard gecko to another snow and to a black knight. And we popped out a super snow and we popped out a black knight snow, like a black knight baby. And so that just shows you that you can also have 2 or more different sperms inside of a female at one time. And she will use both of those sperm to fertilize those eggs. This is very popular in the ball python world. It's not so popular in the leopard gecko world just because of people's preferences. But I'm a little bit more open with my preferences. Like I'm okay with doing stuff like that. Like to me, it's not that big of a deal. And we'll save that topic for another video. If you want to know, if you want to have a whole video on controversial topics in the leopard gecko hobby, send me a message, comment on this video to let me know what you guys want to see. So anyway, let's take a quick look at my videos here. Yeah, I should have marketed this video better. I think my thumbnail and my title is not good. I'm going to change that. But people love to see shows and people love to see tours. So in the last 12 days, we had this video got 2,000 views. People like to know about different projects in leopard geckos. So in the last 2 weeks, this video got 1,000 views. This show video did not take off and do so well. This tour video did well. This tour video did well, you know, a couple thousand views. This tour video did well. So you could kind of review what's working for you and what's not. But the way that I grew on YouTube was making educational videos. What to do if your leopard gecko has a prolapse, cohabitating leopard geckos, unboxing leopard geckos, how to clean your leopard gecko's eyes. 15,000 views in the last 7 months. The 9 different eye traits of leopard geckos, 6,000 views in the last 9 months. What else is a popular one? Top 5 rarest leopard geckos, 23,000 views in the last 10 months. And sometimes the sensational videos don't hit. Like this sensational video is a crazy video.
All right, guys, it's not every
of an underdeveloped ball python that just looks insane. I thought this one would go viral, and it just never did. You know, so sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. You know, so we're talking about business. We're talking about business. We've covered building a website and why that's important, SEO and how to drive people to your website and why that's important. Social media helps with that SEO and helps drive people to your website. Let's touch on shows. Last year, shows was the biggest source of revenue that we had. So like, let me just start with, I think it was the April show for down here in Arizona last year. Let me just start with that. I think the April show last year, I think was a $6,000 show in just leopard geckos. And then we did a California show, which I think was a $7,000 show in just leopard geckos. And then we did another Arizona show, which was another $7,000 show in just leopard geckos. So notice I'm saying just leopard geckos because you could choose to bring a lot of stuff to a show. But my strategy for going to a show is to demonstrate what I'm best at and what I'm best known for. And when you walk by our booth at a show, I am being friendly and I'm automatically putting an animal into your hands. As soon as a kid walks by, as soon as an adult walks by, oh, hey guys, want to hold a gecko? What reptiles do you have? What's your favorite reptile? Do you like snakes or do you like lizards? These, engaging with somebody in a friendly manner, putting a gecko in their hands, educating them on leopard geckos. Hey, do you know why leopard geckos are the best reptile that you can get? Because they're very vacation friendly. If you go away for a long period of time, they don't need a lot of care. They don't need people to go visit them at the house. You could set them up for a couple weeks and they'll be just fine at the house by themselves. They do this cute thing where you touch them on the tip of the mouth and they give you a little lick. I call it a lick kiss. These are I didn't train myself to talk this way. Like I just naturally love leopard geckos, so it comes out that way. But if you're not naturally outgoing, you need to train yourself to be naturally outgoing because reptiles don't sell themselves. The people that find difficulty at a show are the people that just leave their reptiles on the table and watch people walk by and don't engage with people and don't talk to people. Those are the people that will find the most difficult time selling animals. There is one exception to that. The exception to that is if you've been in the hobby for 20 or more years and people know who you are and they know that you have high-end stuff and they're looking for your stuff. But at a is frozen. That's crazy. Let me take a drink of water. There we go. I think I'm back now. Bam Bam. What's going on? What was the last thing you guys heard? Let me know. What was the last thing you guys heard so I know where to start? I love this podcast setup, guys. I could do. Oh, Bam Bam. I was going to ask you. The dinosaur video that you asked me to review, was that about the beak dinosaur that they found? Yeah, my mic did stop. Everything stopped working. Everything stopped. My computer has a virus, I believe, and so I'm going to need to deal with that. I'm probably going to get it fixed, and I'm going to get another computer in the meantime also. What was the last thing you heard me say? I was talking about, let's see if I can fix the audio. Audio testing, yep, should be good. I could also go out and come back in if the audio is no good. So let me know. How's the audio now? Testing 1, 2, 3. Kyle Dell, testing 1, 2, 3. I'm not lagging anymore on my end, but if you guys are saying that the audio and everything's bad, then I can go out and come back. Let me see. I'll be right back. This should stay up. Give me 1 second here. Oh, okay. Okay, I should still be live. I should still be live. Sorry for your poor ears. Let me know if it fixed itself. I really do need to get a new computer. Actually, I'm going to get this computer cleaned up. I'm going to take it to a place called Data Doctors, and they're going to clean it up for me. Or my cousin's going to help me fix it because he fixes computers and stuff. I left my other screen off. I'm going to leave everything off because I think my computer has a virus. So the more stuff that I try to run at once, it has a problem. So where did I leave off? We were talking about shows, grabbing people's attention. You guys remember what exact part I left off at? People at shows are mainly looking to buy a $50 to $300 animal. So one of my strategies for my first couple of years of business was thank you, engagement. I wanted to make a ton of $50 to $300 animals, and you can kind of see this right now on my website and everything like that. I have my high-end Black Knights that I'm saving and working in the meantime, but that's going to lead me to the next point. So let's move on from shows. If you have a question about shows, you could come back. But actually, on my list, this flows exactly into the next point. The next point says, know your customer. So let me lower this actually. In the leopard gecko hobby, there are different types of customers. There are high-end breeders that want to implement high-end projects. There are pet keepers that just want to buy an expensive pet. There are mid-tier breeders that want to buy high-end animals so that they could sell high-end animals. And I was actually talking to this about this with another breeder. Why did this you shouldn't increase there, little one. The microphone volume should not be auto adjusting, but I think it is. So let me know if there's issues. I'm trying to, I don't know why it keeps changing on me here. Am I getting louder or something like that? Denise, when do you guys do the Inside the Hide? Because I didn't want to conflict with your guys' show, but I needed a break. So know this about me. I do a lot of things throughout the day, and sometimes I need to take a break from that certain category, right? So like if I'm cleaning tubs for a few hours, then I might need to switch to like social media, or if I'm doing social media, I might need to switch to tubs. So I got some physical work I need to do tonight. So I just wanted to sit down and talk about a specific topic. I'm going to leave my microphone alone, but hopefully it's not spiking in audio. Let me know if it is. And if it is, I might need to buy a new microphone. So heading into our next topic, know your customer. Fridays at 9:30 Eastern Standard. So that's 6 right now. That's 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. So that's cool. You guys could check out Denise and John's podcast. Really cool podcast. I enjoy listening to it. I think the more Leopard Gecko podcasts that exist, that's definitely going to be really cool. So my strategy for coming in was to produce a bunch of pet animals while I'm growing my high-end stuff. Because here's the thing. If you're growing your high-end stuff, there's two options. You can either spend $100,000 on acquiring new projects, or you could make high-end animals by purchasing a few high-end animals and then making babies of those high-end animals. And that was kind of the route that I wanted to go, so that I wouldn't have to become dependent upon reinvesting and reinvesting and reinvesting. But I could create a stable source of income that would allow me to pay for the expenses of the business, pay for the growth of the business, but also fund the growth of our higher end projects. And so my strategy was, let me see how many $50 to $300 animals I could sell in a year. You know what I mean? So I think I just got done with my 2022 taxes, and I forgot how much dollars in leopard geckos we actually sold, but how much do you think it will cost to ship to the Philippines? I don't have a way to ship to the Philippines right now. I'm currently talking to an exporter that I worked with for Sailfin Dragons, but he hasn't given me an answer of how I can ship back. So anyway, know your customer. Let's talk about the pyramid for a second. The people at the top are like John from Gecko Boa, or like Chris from Suburban Geckos, people that have been doing this for 20 years. They're going to sell to mid-tier breeders mainly, and they're also going to sell to the people that are entry-level breeders. You know what I mean? Denise, you got a way to ship to the Philippines? Let me know, because I get hit up by people in the Philippines. So obviously, your average person is not going to want to pay $3,000 for shipping, like you just said. But maybe there's some high-end breeders there that want to deal in bulk or something like that, Texas, glad you're still here. So, okay, Texas, this actually ties into you and me. And I'll just say who I was talking to. I was talking to Tucson's Finest Leos, because he was asking me for, we were just talking about strategies for selling and whatnot. You know what I mean? So my strategy coming into leopard geckos was not really to go after the big guys customers, because John and Chris and people that have been in the hobby for 15, 20 years, they're going to have their loyal customer base. They're going to have their fans that are going to, not really want to buy from anyone else, but mainly stick with those guys, right? So my strategy was not to try to necessarily make my main customer their customers, but was to develop my own customer. And that's where the other tips that I have on this list come in handy. Building a website, engaging on MorphMarket, engaging on social media, building a Facebook page, building an Instagram, building a YouTube, contributing content to the Society of Leopard Geckos. That will all start to build your own audience. You know what I mean? So Demian just stopped by our house and picked up a leopard gecko. That's a new strategy that I'm getting into right now, is I'm promoting people just coming over. Like before, I would not have people come over so much because it is our house. I would, I would try to meet them outside of our house and stuff like that. But now I'm just going gung ho. Just come on over, come view the geckos, come take a look in person, come view geckos that are not listed on my website. You could be the first to see these animals and first to have a shot at these animals, and we can negotiate price in person. So knowing your customer and who you're going to sell to is key. Pet stores, reptile shows, you're mainly looking at $50 to $300 animals at a reptile show, and pet stores, you're mainly looking at $20 to $30 animals if you're going to sell to reptile stores. You know what I mean? So yeah, although I love Texas Kid, let me use this example. I love Texas Kid and I love Tucson's Leos and the other people that I engage with on the mid-tier level of leopard geckos. We are not each other's main customer. Like Texas Kid is not my main customer. He might buy something from me in the future, but my main customer are entry-level breeders. And so you, as a mid-tier breeder, it's really, really important that you become good at engaging with entry level breeders, because those are going to be your main customers. Main customers look for a couple of things. One, they want you to talk to them. Two, they want you to be on call with them, you know, for help and all that kind of stuff. Three, they want discounts and they want deals. And four, yeah, I don't really know what four is. Maybe one of you guys has a four or something like that, you know? And that's the other thing. Yeah, Texas is talking about once you are a mid-scale breeder, there's only a certain amount of money that you want to invest and then you're done. You know what I mean? And once you're done, you're only going to pick up animals every couple of years or something when something's really going to further or enhance your project, you know? So for example, I'm the same way. I've built my collection huge. Like I have a huge Black Knight collection, right? And the reason that I don't drop my Black Knight prices is because I have no reason to right now. Right now, they're still selling for $1,500 to $2,000. But when the day comes that they start selling for less money, I will be more prepared because I have a lot of them. Not only that, if I want to increase my Black Knight project and take it in a different direction, because I have so many breeders, I could easily buy an animal that will fuse well into that project and blow it up within a year or two. So like the Lava project, you guys know what Lava is? It's like Tangerine, Tremper Albino, Black Knight. Instead of dumping a bunch of money into the Lava project, I just dumped a bunch of time and money into saving pure Black Knights and high quality Black Knights. And now that I have a bunch of those Black Knights, I can take one Lava male. I can take just one Lava male, and I can breed him to like 50 Black Knight females. And what I'm going to get the next season is going to be insanely crazy. And so there is a little bit of strategy to it when you go into it on a business perspective, but most people are more on a hobbyist perspective. And hobbyists have a really let me be the first one to tell you, businesses have a hard time selling geckos, you know? The world of leopard geckos is not easy to sell in. And I will be upfront and try to set the expectation for people. The world of leopard geckos is not easy because they still take time, money. They take time and money from you to raise these animals. And then you're competing in a very, very large market. Like if you were to go on MorphMarket right now and look at the amount of gargoyle geckos for sale, I think there's like 1,200 gargoyle geckos for sale. But then if you look at leopard geckos, there's like 2,500. And before Darian came in and cleaned up MorphMarket, I think there was like 4,000 leopard geckos for sale. And then for ball pythons, there's 50,000 ball pythons for sale on MorphMarket. So this ties into our earlier conversation about know your customer, acquire customers. This is one thing I was talking to Tucson's Finest Leos about, is in the world of business, there is a topic called customer acquisition cost. Customer acquisition cost is the cost that it costs you to acquire a customer. I love watching Shark Tank. So in my downtime, I watch Shark Tank. I've never really been an entrepreneur. Guys, I talk a lot of business talk and strategy and all that kind of stuff, but I've never been an entrepreneur. When I went to school for business management because entrepreneur was not my thing. I did not like the idea of entrepreneur. You know, it's a roll of the dice. It's a big risk to be an entrepreneur. And it wasn't what I truly enjoyed the most. What I truly enjoyed the most was dealing with people, being kind to people, customer service, making customers happy. And so for my first couple of years in college and even out of college, I was a server. I was a waiter. I waited on people because I truly enjoyed it. And here I'm going to get off this topic in a second, but my one issue with the waiter business, the restaurant business, is as a server, you're getting paid like $3 or $6 an hour, but you make the most of your money in tips. And that's great. But there's one thing that the restaurant business does not do, that if it did this one thing,
I think it would retain more servers for life. And that is side work. Any of you guys who have ever been a restaurant worker, you guys know, or a server, you guys know that at the end of a 5-6 hour shift, you still have to do an hour or two of folding napkins, setting tables, vacuuming booths, cleaning the floor, restocking everything. If restaurants would pay somebody like $15 an hour, like minimum wage, to do those things at the end of the night, so that the servers don't have to do it. The servers could just go home from a long day of running around, stress from dealing with managers, stress from dealing with customers. They would retain a lot more servers. So anyway, I loved being a server, but that was the one thing I did not like about being a server, was the hour or two of cleaning the floor and scrubbing toilets for $6 an hour at the end of a shift. You know, because you put a lot of time and energy into making customers happy. They could hire somebody for $15 an hour that puts their time and energy into cleaning the toilets and sweeping the floors. That would be a much better balance. Just my opinion. Okay, gonna move on. I don't even know what I was talking about now. What was I talking about, Texas? Get me back on track. Why did I segue into that? Customer service. I went into the world of management. I wanted to be a manager and work with people. I did not like entrepreneur, but if you watch Shark Tank, you'll start to catch on to some business lingo that they talk about. One of the terms they talk about is customer acquisition cost. Let me use this in the world of shopping for clothes real quick, and then you'll kind of understand how that applies to reptiles. If you have a business, or let's just say you have a coffee shop. Let's say you have a coffee shop. What is DSM? What's going on, my man? If you have a coffee shop, how do you acquire customers? Because customers don't just come for free, right? If you have a coffee shop, your placement is going to acquire customers. Your word of mouth is going to acquire customers. And advertising is going to acquire customers. So running ads on Facebook, Google, and Instagram, which I don't know if you guys know this, but if you have a Facebook or Instagram, you could boost your post. I do this all the time. I don't know if you guys see my boosted posts. I will boost the post for $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever it might be. I'll boost the post, and Instagram and Facebook will get that post in front of more people's eyes. That is called customer acquisition cost. If I pay $10 a week, and out of paying $10 a week in advertising cost, I gain one customer, that's my customer acquisition cost. Now, there might be other things tied into it, but to keep it simple for now, if I'm paying $10 a week and I make a sale for, and that week, let's just say that week I make $1,000 in sales. Guys, it's not that good for me. I'm not making $1,000 a week in sales right now. There might be certain weeks where I do make $1,000 in sales a week, but every week I'm not doing $1,000 yet. But that's where growth comes into play, and strategy and stability and consistency. I will get there. My goal is to be doing $2,000 a week in sales one day for the business, right? And I want to do that every week, all year long, you know, but that's going to include like my ball pythons and all that kind of stuff. And I highly encourage people who sell animals not to look at the business as weekly sales. Like most other businesses look at it in a weekly revenue stream. So like Subway looks at their weekly revenue and they're like, oh, dang, we're down this week. Oh, we're up this week. Oh, we're down this week. Okay, we're back up this week. I highly encourage reptile businesses not to do that. When I talk to people about reptile businesses, I say look at it on a yearly basis, because let's say for the first 6 months of the year, you don't sell anything. You sell zero in sales. But then the last 6 months of the year, you sell $20,000 worth of animals. You see what I'm saying? Is now you can average that out and be like, okay, I sold, let's see, 12 months a year, let's just say $24,000. So you sold an average of $2,000 per month that year. But what really happened was you sold $24,000 of animals in the last 6 months of the year. And so I encourage people not to look at it on a monthly basis, but more of a yearly basis, because there are waves in reptile sales. You know what I mean? Now you can start building more consistency by like doing shows, marketing, building a website, being on MorphMarket, doing social media like we're doing. All of that will build more consistent sales. But sometimes people are just not in the market. You know what I mean? And if they're not in the market, they're not in the market, but they might be in the market next month. So rubbing elbows and what is it called? Networking, rubbing elbows and networking is a huge percentage of how you become a successful business in this hobby. And if you can do that, it doesn't really matter who's against you. It just matters who's for you. You know, if you can build a faithful and loyal audience that sees your true character and who you are, and you put a lot of effort into doing these people right and customer service, they'll stick with you and they'll spread your name, and you'll get eyeballs in front of other people. So one of the reasons I really like the reptile business as well is it is it's not a closed business. How do I want to say this? What is an example of a more restricted, closed business? Okay, here's an example of this is not the greatest. That's not the greatest example. Let me forget about giving you a bad example and let me just give you a good example. The reason that I love reptiles as from a business perspective is that every single day there is a 7-year-old boy or girl that is about to turn 8 that is going to ask their parents for their very first reptile. The world of reptiles is constantly growing and it's constantly replenishing itself. When one person leaves, one person comes in. Do you think industry is heading for a major downturn due to the crappy economy? Not permanently. I don't think crappy economies make a permanent change. I think it just makes a temporary change. And during the year of COVID, because everybody was receiving their checks from the government and stuff like that, people actually saw an upturn in business in the reptile world because people had money to waste. But here's the thing. People will always buy pets. Think about the homeless person that has a dog. Think about that for a second. People love their pets. Whether you're homeless, whether you're low income, medium income, high income, or somewhere in between, people will always have pets. And especially with the growth of YouTube, reptiles is becoming a more commonly accepted and popular pet compared to the last 20 years. So the reptile hobby as a whole is growing. So know your customer, know who you're going to sell to, and start to build a loyal customer base around shows, social media, website SEO, and networking, right? Don't worry too much about the people that don't accept you or hate on you or give you a hard time. Stay focused. Put that energy into staying focused. And you will, I think you'll succeed. Now, here's the other thing is not everyone's going to succeed. There's a statistic out there like 95% of businesses fail. And I don't want to say that you're going to be that 95% that fails. Be the 5% that succeeds. If you have it stuck in your head that you're not going to fail, you're not going to fail. If you have it stuck in your head that you're going to succeed, you're going to succeed. How long it takes you to get there and how successful you're going to be is that's up in the air. But if you make up your mind that you're not going to give up and you're going to constantly learn and adapt and change to grow, you're going to be just fine. You know what I mean? I can't tell you, I study people's sales and I study people's engagements and followings and all that kind of stuff. And I can't tell you how many people I see that are entry-level keepers. They're brand new. They're entry-level breeders, and they're selling to other people. Now, they might not be rich, but they're making sales, and that's the start. So that's just proof right there that you don't need to be a mid-scale breeder or an upscale breeder to make sales. It's all about not giving up, networking, and creating a loyal fan base and friendship. Let's call it a friendship base, because that's truly what it is. You know what I mean? People are not dollar signs. If you treat people as dollar signs, that's where you might encounter certain problems, because eventually people are going to leave you because you're just treating them as a dollar sign. But if you treat people as friends and comrades, you know what I mean? Being kind and courteous and open and welcoming and conversing with them, that's going to take you a lot further than ignoring them when they don't buy something from you. That's a very popular trend for people that don't do so well in sales and then maybe become a little bit snobby about it. Is they think, oh, because I've been in the hobby so long, people should be kissing my feet and buying my geckos. No, people would rather buy the gecko from a seller that is kissing their feet and being very welcoming to them than a seller that is expects you to bow down before them and treat them as if they are the god of leopard geckos just because they have been in the hobby for 10 years or more. You know, so I like to look at it like just treat everyone the same. From the person that's spending money with you, to the person that's thinking about it, to the person that doesn't want to spend money with you, treat them all exactly the same. Give them all the exact same time, effort, and I think that will help you a lot. And this could apply to any business, right? So know your customer, grow your customer base. Why did I put this? This next point down is about sales. Why did I put sales? I think I was putting it in reference to the size of the market, which we kind of talked about a little bit, and knowing who's going to buy from you, but that ties into like know your customer. I don't remember why I put sales on here. So I'm going to skip sales and go to my last point. Now, if you have any other points that you feel like I didn't cover or you want me to cover, I'm getting pretty hungry, so I'm going to need maybe I can have Whitney bring me a chicken sandwich. Then I can hang out for a little longer. Let me see if this mutes. Oh, okay. There's got to be a way to mute this. Oh, I probably just mute myself here. Here's a test real quick. Okay, I should have been muted. That way, if I'm eating, I know I'm not slobbering all over the mic. We'll take a second to shout some people out. Captain, your wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I've been seeing that a lot lately. There's a ton of people jumping into leopard geckos. So I just want to encourage you. There's a bunch of new people coming into the hobby, you know, so grab the attention of these new people, be friends with them, you know, all that good stuff. Before I get to my last point, let me take a second, shout some people out. You know what I mean? People, I'm primarily going to shout out people that are doing maybe business related things right now, since that's kind of what the topic is about. But we're going to do, if you missed it, recommend to me in the comments below. So after this stream, recommend topics that you want me to talk about. So I started taking them down in my phone. Today's topic is business strategies and how to grow a business. Next week's topic, or later this week's topic, might be how to grow on social media. The topic after that might be what projects should you get into as a leopard gecko enthusiast. Another topic might be what is the standing of the leopard gecko hobby? What what is the overall picture of what the leopard gecko hobby is right now? Is it good for a hobbyist? Is it good for a business? Is it good for just a pet keeper? You know, like these different topics I would love to talk about, you know? So can you do me a huge favor? In the new freezer, there is the chicken sandwiches. Can you microwave cook me one of those? Yeah, they're in the new freezer. I made it so that you can open every single one of those things so you don't have to take it out of the freezer. You know what I mean? Thank you, hon. It should have a microwave version where you could just like microwave it. Also, we're selling these. I'm going to be selling these new tank tops soon because it is so hot in Arizona. And I am a hot-bodied person. I run hot, except when I'm in a pool. I get cold really easy when I'm outside, but like internally, if I'm in a warm room, I really get over warm. So anyway, I love these tank tops. Okay, so I kind of answered the industry downturn and all that kind of stuff. No, there's chicken sandwiches in there, like in one of those boxes. Yeah, there's chicken sandwiches, like an actual chicken sandwich. Yeah, that's another thing. Animal abuse. That could be another topic that we talk about. Policing our hobby, all that kind of stuff, you know. Thank you, Demian. Yeah, Demian was here looking at some Black Knights in person. Crested geckos, that's another topic we could talk about. What's going on with the crested gecko world and what are some strategies coming into crested geckos if you want to do it as a hobby, a business. This isn't related to business, but I mean, it kind of is in a way, you know, depending on what line you choose. I'm thinking about getting into tangs. What line would you recommend? I would recommend getting into the lines that people like and are popular. Clown. A lot of people don't like when I say this, but clown is a form of tangerine. You need high quality tangerines to make clown. So I'm just going to call clown a line of tangerine. Mandarin, Inferno. You could go back to older genetics like gecko genetics and electric, but a lot of new keepers don't know what gecko genetics or electric is. So they're looking for the buzzwords of main lines of tangerine. So you're looking at Mandarin, you're looking at Inferno, you're looking at Blood and Clown. I would say those are the four. Oh, and then there's personal projects that people have, right? So like the guy up in Canada has his tornadoes, which are not as red as they appear in picture. It's been proven, guys. The myth is busted. The tornadoes that he shows in picture are not that red when you get them. It doesn't mean it's not a nice gecko. It just means that he's using the power of marketing and taking pictures to sell his animals, which that could be a whole nother topic for whether that's right or ethical or people should be made aware of that. You know, if you want me to talk about that topic, let me know. But tangerine tornado, people look for. The one that Bam Bam's always pointing out that I forget to mention, is that the chicken one, hon? Thank you. Does it have bread on it? Okay, sweet. It has bread on it. It's cold, so I'm going to lower my AC real quick. I guess higher my AC. So the one that I always forget is Gecko Daddy's line. Why am I spacing on the name right now? Gecko Daddy, Gecko Daddy, Gecko Daddy. Dang, I'm doing some good advertising for Gecko Daddy right now. Bam Bam will correct me. Bam Bam will let me know what Gecko Daddy's like. Yeah, Tango Crush. Thank you. So Tango Crush, so Tango Crush and Tornado, they're just a mix. They're a mix of like a bunch of lines of tangerine. And to a certain degree, Clown is, but Clown has other stuff in it as well. We do breed gargoyles right now, and I'll probably be getting into Cresties in the future, like the high-end Cresties. But my goal right now is to become sustainable with leopard geckos and have leopard geckos bringing in enough money to fuel the growth of getting into projects and other things, you know, because leopard geckos is the thing I'm most passionate about. And we're also looking into getting it, either buying or building a facility right now. So more to come on that. I need to talk to my cousin about that. But that's coming soon. What do you think about breeding tangerine leopard gecko with a possible hypo with apter? That's good. If you have a Tremper albino leopard gecko and you breed tangerine into that, that would be cool. You know what I mean? White and black gargoyle geckos are starting to gain popularity. They were kind of low in popularity for a while, but I don't know why. They look stunning. But they were kind of low in popularity. So if in case you missed it, today's video is not going to be focused on morphs and those kinds of things. So I'm going to end that conversation there. If you want me to have a video all about morphs, drop me a comment, like this video, and I will actually, I'm going to put that on my list right now. Well, I made a video about projects, and then we could have a video about morphs. I really want to stay focused on these topics. So my last topic in business is cost and maintenance. And before I get into that, please bear with me as I run to the restroom real quick. And I will be right back so that I could talk about this topic in all of its juicy wholesomeness. Thank you, Brooke. Hello, Brooke. There's one of our workers, helpers. That's another thing you need. If you're going to expand, you need workers, helpers, you know. All right, I'm going to see if Whitney's she's making a chicken sandwich. So let's touch on that topic real quick. Here's a business tip. I'm going to write this down because I missed it. I wrote it down as workers, but I want to phrase it to you. I want to phrase this to you in a way that really heightens on how important this is. And this ties into what happened at Slither Inc. and the animal abuse that took place at his facility. I'm listening to more and more podcasts, and it actually sounds like the abuse could have been prevented by having more employees or less animals. And so my next point right now is going to tie into another business tip. Replace yourself. Think about that for a second. In my first couple years of business, I didn't want to hire anybody. I didn't want to pay anybody. And to a certain degree, I didn't need to pay anybody. But then the business got to a certain point where I couldn't handle it all on my own, the care of the animals and the growth of the business. Thanks so much, hon. Does it say to cook them separately or? Oh, sweet. Well, thanks so much. So Whitney got my... Guys, y'all, if you ain't shopping at Sam's Club or Costco, you need to get on the Sam's Club and Costco bandwagon because they just have... Look, some of you guys are probably going to... Your mouths are probably going to water right now, but this is a gigantic chicken sandwich from Costco.
And is it actually good?
I'm in Sam's Club. It's amazing. It tastes fantastic. Like literally. Mark says delegate or fail. And I'm not going to get too biblical right now. I might actually create another channel, a podcast for like biblical based stuff since faith is part of my life. But most people know the story of Moses. If you're a Christian, if you're not a Christian, Moses was called to lead millions of people through the desert. And whether you believe the story is true or not, that's an argument or discussion for another day. But God told Moses to not hire, but to set up delegators. So Moses was in charge. He had the direct words from God to run the business of the children of Israel, so to speak. Bam Bam says hi. But he had delegators in charge of each tribe, each family, each people. And so our business got to a certain point where I couldn't grow the business at the same time as grow my take care of all the animals and grow the amount of animals that I was working with. So that's when I met Brooke. Brooke came on as a volunteer, eventually became a worker. Then we met Jacob and Jonathan and Chucky, and all four of these people right now work consistently for us here. And they're all good friends. You know, you have to trust who you work with, and you're putting in the care of these animals. And you have to understand that it's going to take them time to learn what you do, but replace yourself. Because if you get hurt or you go to the hospital or you get overrun with care, you need somebody that can step in and do exactly what you do, or else the animals are going to suffer and the business is going to suffer. You're going to lose animals and all that kind of stuff. And that's exactly what happened with Slither Inc. The workers were overwhelmed. I mean, I'm listening to some interviews, and one worker would have to take care of like 400 adult, full grown, 10 to 20 feet reticulated pythons every week. And they eventually got to a point where they were efficient and they were managing that. But then the owner added more animals and fired employees, and there was stuff off balance. And so yes, you need somebody to replace you. You need somebody that can do what you do. And so right now, I've trained or am training, in the process of training, people to work and do things exactly the way that I would do it. Now, no one's probably going to do it exactly the way you would do it, but you could train them close. And they might even have good ideas of their own. Sometimes this happens with Brooke, where she has an idea that I didn't have. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually a really good idea. You know, so it is beneficial to have multiple people in the business and for them to feel comfortable to share their ideas, you know? I was in the hospital in January. I needed to call Brooke in because I was in the hospital for like 4 days and she needed to take care of some stuff. And that was difficult because I hadn't trained her to actually take care of that stuff. So trying to explain it to her over the phone and all that kind of stuff, you can't expect much if someone hasn't done this 1,000 times, you know? So Brooke always has ideas. You might as well call her Idea Girl. If she had a superpower, she would be Idea Girl. All right, so replacing yourself is very important for growth of the business. And that also ties into mental sanity, because when you're working with reptiles, and unfortunately my wife is going through this right now, because I work with reptiles 24/7, whether it's social media, care of the animals, breeding of the animals, customer service, 24/7. No breaks, no days off. And because of that, it affects our vacation time. It affects our relationship. It affects everything because I'm so drained. You know what I mean? So yeah, not biting off more than you can chew is a good point as well. Hiring people to do what you do so that you can actually have business hours, somewhat of a normal life, vacation, all that kind of stuff. And if you get hurt or you're not able to clean, there are people that can do it, and not just one person, but multiple people. All right, let's talk about our last topic. Last topic of the night, cost and maintenance. Know your cost to maintain an operation. And so for example, I calculated the numbers. For me to pay an employee to take care of babies, to feed them, water them, raise them. Well, let me first talk about food costs. Leopard geckos do not require a lot of food. I mean, money-wise, they don't require a lot of food because mealworms are so cheap. Shout out to Rainbow Mealworms, by the way. You want to buy in bulk from Rainbow Mealworms and store them in a refrigerator just for mealworms at 45 degrees. And you will have no problems. No bedding, no food. So I don't know what that alarm was for. Maybe your gym? See, I need to get back to the gym and have a healthy lifestyle all around too. Yeah, you do. Mark said it well. You do need work-life balance. You need it. I need to get back to the gym. I really do. It just makes you mentally more healthy and all that, all that kind of stuff. So to raise a leopard gecko from baby to adulthood in 1 year is about $5 worth of food for every gecko. So if you have 100 geckos, that's going to cost you about $500 to raise those 100 geckos to adulthood in just food cost. Now there's employee cost. This is the biggest part. If you're paying an employee somewhere between $15 to $20 an hour, it's going to cost you about $40 a year to raise that gecko based on their hourly pay and the amount of time that you're going to have them clean. It's going to be about $40 a year per gecko if they are cleaning the geckos once every, let's just say, babies are a little bit more often. We clean our geckos, our babies every 10 to 12 days, but our adults are more like 14 to 17 days. So let's just say 2 weeks. If you're cleaning, feeding, watering, refreshing everything every 2 weeks, that's about $40 worth of labor. If you're doing it every week, double that. That's about $80 worth of labor. So every gecko, in theory, is costing about $50 a year to pay for employees and to pay for the food. And if you're not, if you don't have employees, you still have to consider your time is costing you something. It's costing you sanity. It's costing you vacation. It's costing you the potential for not growing other areas of your business, like not being able to put time into marketing, social media. So even if you're not paying an employee, you still have to consider that, like, you're paying yourself to take care of these animals. So in general, every leopard gecko is costing about $50 a year to raise into adulthood. Once it's an adult, it's probably going to be on maintenance food and maintenance costs until it sells. And that could be maybe, I don't know. You still have to pay your employees. So that's the biggest thing. But you're still looking at like close to $50 a year worth of employee cost. So if you sell every gecko in your collection for a minimum of $50, that means you could break even on that gecko 12 months later. And let's say 12 months later, you sell the gecko for $100. Now you just made $50 profit off of the expenses of that animal. And that's not counting racking and electricity. That's not counting racking and electricity. Yep, you got it. Mark says, based off employee, food cost, and we didn't factor in electricity and water bill and all that kind of stuff, you should be shooting for $100 a gecko, but that's not going to happen. However, let me tie back into our other point. Customer acquisition cost. Let's get a little fancy. CAC, customer acquisition cost. whether you're paying for advertisement or whether you're giving away a gecko for free, or whether you're breaking even on a gecko, you are acquiring customers. So some of you guys have seen recently that I'm giving away for free my pet leopard geckos that they could be egg-bound girls that were egg-bound from a couple years ago, and I don't want to breed them anymore because egg-bound girls don't do well in subsequent years breeding them. They could be geckos that have short faces, small bodies, weird tail tips, golly, terrible. Okay, I'm back. But is my mic okay? Is my mic okay? Last time I had a connection issue, my mic got weird. So let me know if my mic is weird before I close out on my closing point. Do you guys like this kind of thing where like I have a topic and we just talk, we stick to that topic? So like next topic could be morphs. It could be how to grow on social media. I'm looking for you guys to recommend topics. Another cool thing that I'm starting to do is my reaction to things. So if there's a video that you want me to react to, I'll do a reaction to it. I mean, it has to be somewhat appropriate or something like that. But what's going on, Sarah? But yeah, I enjoy that. Now I'm doing more like content creator, podcasty type stuff, you know, because I don't know, it's cool. It's easy to do. I can just sit in front of a mic, talk, and we could have a fun time talking animals. People could listen back to it. They could listen to it while they clean, all that good stuff. So my closing remarks was on maintenance and talking about that. Customer acquisition costs. So here's an example of acquiring customers for free. Two examples, and we're going to close on this. If you give away free geckos and all the person has to do is pay shipping, you just acquired a customer. You know why? Because that person is going to probably buy from you in the future, or at least consider it. And they're also going to tell their friends and family, or at least consider that of spreading your name, right? Or they're going to tag you in some social media stuff. So customer acquisition cost, the cost that it costs you to acquire a customer. If you give away a gecko for free, it costs you $0 to acquire a new customer for the future if they're paying for shipping. If you, what was the other thing I was going to do? Oh, if you sell a gecko for $50, remember we were talking about making profit. If it costs you $50 a year to grow that gecko up, and then you sell that gecko for $50, you technically made $0 profit on that animal, but you acquired a customer. So your customer acquisition cost on that person is $0. Your customer acquisition cost on other people that you have to advertise to, put time into making videos and content and networking and paying for Instagram and Facebook ads, that all cost you time and money. But giving away geckos for free or giving away geckos at the break-even point gives you a customer for free. So I hope that makes sense. Mark says the juice has to be worth the squeeze, CAC. And also think of the long run. Don't think of how much money am I making right now, but think of how much money am I going to make as I acquire customers, as I market myself, as I advertise, as I network. And again, don't focus on the naysayers or the negativity. Focus on yourself, what you're doing, and what's important to you. So I'm going to end it there so I could maybe do a little workout, or maybe I'll use my energy to like clean my geckos now. But I hope you enjoyed this podcast topic episode about business tips for growing a leopard gecko business. We talked about a lot of stuff that could apply to multiple businesses or areas of life. If you missed some of our early conversation, please go back and rewatch it. If you have topics that you want me to talk about that are focused like this on the next podcast, please drop a comment in the chat or a comment below. Give this video a like because that helps to get our channel out there and build our audience. If you want to keep this conversation going, join our Discord at Geeky Gecko Creations. We have a Discord now. You could go into the description and join our Discord. It's growing at a pretty rapid pace. It's a place that you could attach with other members of our non-judgmental family Leopard Gecko community. I call us the Geeky Gecko fam. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys know who Nick Merckx is from the video game world, but he has something called the M Fam, which is his fan base for the people that he associates with on his platform. So I kind of nicknamed us like the Geeky Gecko fam or the Gecko fam. That's our family where it's just wholesome, good-hearted people that will welcome you and not judge you for the questions or topics that you might bring. And if any of that stuff does happen, let me know. We can easily talk to the person. And if they're not willing to be family oriented or non-judgmental, then we can give them the boot because that's our platform, and that's how we want to conduct that family atmosphere there. So, and random question, do you sell your black and white tegus? Yeah, we have 2 black and white tegus that are getting ready to lay their eggs right now. We have high white red tegu eggs incubating in the incubator. Some pretty cool stuff. More videos to come on that. Sailfin Dragon videos coming. Thai Park tour videos coming. And a whole bunch more of Leopard Gecko content. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your Monday night evening. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, have a Geeky Gecko great day, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.